Have you ever found yourself feeling tired and unable to concentrate in a lesson? It's probably happened to all of us, even when you might have felt great at the start of the lesson. Lack of concentration in the classroom is obviously a big problem, which can often be mistaken for pupils being uninterested in a lesson or perhaps not getting enough sleep the night before. But there could be another reason that you might not be aware of, which is all to do with the air we breathe. To understand this reason, you must first understand the science behind it. Energy is a vital part of biology and is needed for all the processes in our bodies. For example, movement, keeping warm, and chemical reactions to build larger molecules. Cellular respiration is the process that takes place continuously in all living cells to produce this energy. Respiration, as this is more commonly referred to, is an exothermic reaction. This means that it releases energy which can then be used for the processes mentioned. There are two types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. The key difference between the two is the presence or absence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration in cells takes place when oxygen is present, whereas anaerobic respiration occurs when there is no oxygen present. Both release energy in varying amounts, but there are some key pieces of information that you need to be aware of. For both types of respiration, the sugar glucose is needed. When there is a shortage of oxygen, anaerobic respiration takes place. This happens often during muscle contractions in humans and animals, which requires a lot of energy. If the body does not have enough oxygen present to do this purely through aerobic respiration, for example, when someone is sprinting, anaerobic respiration takes place. During anaerobic respiration, the glucose in our muscles is converted to lactic acid. This requires no oxygen, but releases energy in the process. Because of the shortage of oxygen, the oxidation of the glucose is incomplete, causing us to become tired and out of breath. In extreme cases, it can even cause cramp from lactic acid buildup. It also makes the process less efficient, meaning that relatively less energy is created for the same amount of glucose used. Anaerobic respiration can also occur in plants and yeast cells, although this process is slightly different. When this happens, the glucose becomes ethanol and carbon dioxide, releasing energy as a result. This process is known as fermentation, which does not require oxygen. Fermentation is a valuable process for the manufacture of bread and alcoholic drinks. In bread, the carbon dioxide causes it to rise, giving it that fluffy texture that people love. The ethanol produced is the alcohol that is used in the drinks. Now, I want you to take a deep breath in and out. You may already know that when we inhale, we are doing so to take oxygen in from the air, and when we exhale, we are releasing carbon dioxide. Understanding the aerobic respiration process can help us to understand why this is and the importance of the quality of the air that we breathe. In aerobic respiration, the glucose reacts with oxygen that we inhale to produce carbon dioxide and water. This means that we need to get rid of the carbon dioxide that we produce, which is what happens when we exhale. Energy released in this form of respiration generates an exothermic reaction, but the presence of the oxygen means that the oxidation of the glucose is complete and lots of energy is released from the process. In addition to the word equation, you also need to learn the symbol equation for aerobic respiration. The symbol for glucose is C6H12O6 plus O2 for the oxygen, which becomes CO2 plus H2O. When this is balanced, this is C6H12O6 plus 6O2, which becomes 6CO2 plus 6 H2O. Imagine that you're sat in a full classroom. In all living cells, respiration takes place continuously. This means that you, and all the pupils in the classroom, are always respiring. Everyone is going to be breathing in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide as a result of this process. Over time, and without sufficient ventilation, this can cause carbon dioxide levels in the classroom to build up, meaning that as we breathe in, we are gradually inhaling an increasing proportion of carbon dioxide. This can have a profound impact on our cognitive function or mental abilities, as our brains require a huge amount of energy. In 1904, Christian Boer found that increasing carbon dioxide levels had a negative impact on brain function. While carbon dioxide only makes up a very small proportion of the air, small changes in its levels can have a big impact. The reason why carbon dioxide is so problematic is that it affects the acidity of the blood, which in turn prevents the blood from carrying the oxygen to the brain that is needed for respiration and releasing the high amounts of energy needed to power the brain and keep concentrating. Measuring and understanding the levels of carbon dioxide that we are inhaling is therefore important. The crucial number is 1000 parts per million of carbon dioxide, as anything above this level will begin to restrict our brain function. Although this is easy to measure using CO2 sensors, it is not often done or known about,